Democrats passed, well, okay, so Democrats have presented a bill that is weak, awful, incredibly terrible, stupid, dumb as hell, just anything you can imagine, any synonym you can come up with, in terms of regarding the minimum wage. So Democrats ran on increasing the minimum wage to $15 an hour, and so essentially what they did here was they introduced a bill that they sent to Mitch McConnell. Anyway, they sent it to him. He denied to take it to the floor of the Senate, so now the Democrats are in control. They introduced a bill to increase the minimum wage, the federal minimum wage, to $15 an hour. That's great. Until 2025. Understand this. So they want to pass it in. They want you to suffer and get incremental income until 2025. But the people who just suffered a massive strike back from the people with the stock for GameStop, they get whatever they want. They can have a bailout like that. That $5 trillion they gave to Wall Street during the pandemic, that went to them like that. The Federal Reserve gave $1 trillion a day to the big banks, even though they didn't need them. And the banks, guess what? They were paying those loans back every single day anyway. So the Democrats can pass a bill giving away money to the rich in seconds. They don't say, hey, rich people, you gotta wait until 2030. You gotta wait until 2028. Nope, 2026, 25. Nope. You can have it right now. But when it comes to you, no, they're not doing that. Which shows you the Democratic Party is not here for you. They don't care for you. They never have since Roosevelt. They never will since Roosevelt. Now, Kennedy did. Kennedy tried passing universal health care. Now, so they passed this bill. They introduced this bill. I keep saying they passed it. Ugh. Instead, they should, and David Dole said this on the Rational National, they should have, here's my problem with this bill. It's too incremental. It's too watered down. The Democrats always come with a bill asking for less than what they should. They ask for less than a half of a slice of a pie or a cake, and then the Republicans water it down even more. So instead, what they should be doing is coming out with a bill saying we want to pass to $15 an hour by the summer, and make the Republican Party, the Republicans in the Senate, say, no, we don't want it to then. We want it till 2025, or we don't want it at all. We want it to be watered down to only this parts of the federal government. We only want it to this and that and this and that. That's the problem, is that they didn't do it where they went in and said, here, we want $15 an hour by the summer. And Republicans could have gone, no. No, they came in saying, we want until 5 years later or something like that. And then Republicans can negotiate even lower, water it down even more. And then the Democrats are going to go, gosh, golly, woe's me, I tried. But the Republicans, I tried it, but the big scary Republicans, big bad Republicans, they stopped it. Okay, that's super stupid. So they should have done that. They should have just done $15 an hour by the summer. Checkmate. Because then you can tell the American people, I want to give you $15 right now, but guess what? The Republicans don't want to. Now, I'm going to go over some arguments, but Joe Biden also signed an executive order. It's raising the wages of federal workers and federal contractors to $15 an hour, and is asking federal agencies to work on getting it to go up to $15 an hour and making sure that he can actually do it. So he's going to do it. He's just making the agencies do the work to get it done. So the federal contractors and the federal workers do get it. And look, am I excited about that? Yes. Yes, give the federal workers $15 an hour. But how can you not give the American people $15 an hour by this summer? This is weak. This is weak. And oh no, it's not weak. No, it's a conspiracy. No, you're just saying this to hurt the Democrats. No, the Democrats are doing this to hurt themselves. That's what they're doing. They're doing it to help themselves. This is stupid and this is weak. So, okay. They introduced this bill. They come in with nothing, and they're going to make the Republicans make it even more of nothing. And then Joe Biden introduces an executive order and signs it to make the federal wages go up, the federal workers' wages go up to $15 an hour, and for them and federal contractors. Great. So here's a couple arguments. People say, "Oh, well, if you raise $15 to $15 an hour, what about the small businesses, huh? What about the small businesses who can't do that? Who can barely help their employees right now, huh? Huh? You liberal, huh? Tell me that." Okay, I'll tell you. You subsidize those businesses. You know, we subsidize the healthcare industry. We subsidize the military-industrial complex, the prison-industrial complex, the defense contractors, the war industry. You know, we subsidize big pharma, the pharmaceutical industry, who makes your pharmaceutical drugs, your Tylenol, your Aleve, your I don't know, Pfizer vaccine, whatever. We subsidize them. We subsidize fossil fuel companies all the time. We subsidize companies to offshore their jobs overseas every single year to take them to get to pay people in those countries cheaper labor than they would here in America, than they would be able to here in America, and they get tax breaks for it. So why can't we subsidize these small businesses to say, pay your employees $15 an hour, here's the money to do it? That's how you do it. There are ways and there are models to actually get small businesses to subsidize, to pay $15 an hour. Now, I'm not worried about Walmart, Target, Costco. Now, Costco already does it. I'm not worried about those companies. You know, Kohl's, Home Depot, Lowe's, Macy's. I'm not worried about them because they're giant billion-dollar corporations, multinational corporations. McDonald's, they all have enough money. They have like over $20 billion a year, almost all of them. Amazon. So, I'm not worried about them. Oh, but no, there's no buts. Oh, but the rich, they're going to have to give up more of their profits. And isn't that how this works? Isn't that how the whole system works? The rich aren't going to lose profits. In fact, they're going to gain profits. Gain profits. That's what's going to happen. And even if they did lose profits, they're not going to lose profits to where, oh my God, I had $20 billion in my bank account. Now I only have $5 million. Whoa, what's going on? No. Not at all. Because what do companies do? They pull out loans. They're going to do it anyway. And guess what? They're getting so many billions of dollars, especially now during the pandemic. And grocery stores and all of them. So, now, I want to go over one last thing, which is the rate of productivity versus the rate of inflation. So, if the minimum wage was tied to inflation, it would go up to about $19 an hour. So right now at $15 an hour, well at so at $15 an hour, you're making about $31,000 a year. At $19 an hour, if you were to tie it to inflation, the minimum wage would be at $19 an hour. Okay, not bad, $20 an hour. If you do that, you would make about $36,480 a year. Now, when you tie it to inflation, it protects people from higher prices. It protects the low-wage workers from higher prices. But if you do it where you tie it to productivity, like it was in the 1940s all the way into the 1970s with Nixon, what happened, all the way to about 1968, 1969, 69, 70, what happens is the more workers produce an hour, the more wages go up. And so if inflation was, you're tying it to the protecting them against higher prices, Well, the rate of productivity would allow them to purchase more into the economy and purchase higher priced items. So what if, right? So that's what it is. The higher productivity rate, so the more companies and workers and companies produce, the wages go up. So what if the minimum wage, which is $7.25 an hour right now, which is stupidly starving wages, stupidly, awful, stupidly low. What if you tied it to productivity instead of inflation, or the way we have it now? It would be at $24 an hour, which is $48,000 an hour for a 40-hour work week. Every 2 weeks, every month, 12 months. $48,000 someone would be making. Now, of course, you got to take in taxes, but they would be making more and taking home more, and they would be buying more into the economy and stimulating the economy. So they could pay off their medical debt, which we shouldn't have, their health insurance, which they shouldn't have to, just public taxes. They could buy a house, get on a mortgage, buy a car, start a business, pay off their bills even faster. So that's what it would be. Now, I'm going to include some articles. There's a lot of links that I have for this video. I'm going to include it, all of them, in the description, and you can click on them and you can see for yourself that I'm not lying here. And there's a bunch of from EPI.org. They do a really, really, really good job of going over the rate of productivity from the 1940s all the way until the 1970s. And then they do one from the 1940s until 2018. To show you exactly how low it's gotten. So it started out low. It right in the middle it got really high, and then now that in 2018 it got really, really, really low. So again, we need to raise the minimum wage, but we should be raising it to the rate of productivity. I thought we should raise it to inflation, but no. I mean, look at Finland. I think it was Finland or New Jersey, or not New Jersey. If only, or New Zealand, the Kiwis. It was actually Finland. They raised their wages to $24 an hour because they're tying it to productivity. So the more their workers are producing, the more you get in wages. Because their production, the amount that they're producing is paying for those wages. People are buying more, right? And there's a supply and demand effect here, right? So your company has more to offer people. They're going to buy more. So the supply is high, the demand is high, and then guess what? You have enough to pay your minimum wage for your workers. So this helps workers. And in these articles, you're going to see that over, like with the 95th percentile, the top 10% of the country, they're getting richer, while the bottom 50% of the country are getting poorer and poorer. So that's why we need to be raising the minimum wage in this country. And I didn't realize my camera kept going down. That's why we need to be raising the minimum wage in this country. And I'm sorry about my camera. It's just not doing so well. But that's why we need to raise the minimum wage in this country. We need to raise it, number one. We can't do this weak-ass, stupid-ass, dumb-ass bill that these Democrats are putting out. We need to do it by this summer. And then we need to tie it to productivity. Oh, they're tying it to the median wage, which is where that 95 percentile comes in. I forgot about that. They're tying it to the median wage, which only goes up to 10 an hour or something like that. So, again, the Democrats are being weak. And if they did it this other way, tying it to productivity and doing it by this summer, they'd own the House and Senate for decades. So, I will include all of this in the description so that you can kind of take a look. It's a lot of material. And I wanted to include it because I know that right-wingers are going to come after me and say, oh my God, where are the facts, huh? Well, there you go. There are the facts. Read them. So again, Democrats passing a weak and terrible bill. Joe Biden raising wages of federal workers, and it'll come in due time. But Democrats starting low, Republicans gonna take it even lower, and you're not gonna get a minimum wage increase for a long time. But hopefully, maybe sometime we can tie it to productivity and raise your wages to where it should be $24 an hour, $25 an hour, $25 an hour.